Welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. Where did all the preppers go? That's the question today. Remember back in, it seems like 2010, maybe that time frame, 2009 to 2011, after the recession. Man, I just remember YouTube just littered with the prepping channels and all that stuff. And I know there's some great ones still out there that are still active, but a lot of them I haven't seen much of lately. And I think it's just one of those things that, after that recession, I think a lot of us, especially here in America, man, it opened our eyes. Everything was going well, everything was pretty stable. Then all of a sudden you have these people losing their houses and losing their jobs, and things are getting more expensive and gas prices are high. And it was really a time when I think a lot of people just realized, hey, this kind of stuff can happen, and we need to make sure that we're ready for it. And I think that really spurred a lot of the homesteading and the prepping and all that stuff that kind of came from that time period and has been still going. I'm sure still going strong, but just doesn't seem like I've heard as much about it. Well, the same thing goes for us. Really hadn't thought too much about it and until something happens. And recently we had a pretty close call a few miles from here, or very near to our home and our community. We had a tornado touchdown, kind of a freak storm in March, something that does not happen very often. And it really did some destruction to nearby communities. It was kind of a wake-up call for us. And actually a couple weeks just before that storm, we had lost power for about 3 days due to some other storms and wind and things like that in the area. And so it has been thrust back into my life thinking about this emergency preparedness and prepping and just being prepared for some of these kinds of things, whether it be a short-term disaster or short-term environmental thing or a short-term event, or whether it's something long-term. Now, I'm not out there maybe with some of the other prepping community worried about the zombie apocalypse and some kind of catastrophic event. Not to say that those things can't happen, and those are great things to prepare for, but I think on a more focused scale that we should all be preparing for the more common things that are happening: storms, tornadoes, loss of power. What if you don't have power for a week? Are you prepared? Do you have what it takes to provide your home with power, keep your food safe in a refrigerator, maybe run a sump pump in your basement if you have that kind of an issue like we do? Are you prepared? Will you have running water? Do you have those kinds of things? Just the basics thought of. And then thinking a little more long term, what if there was more of a long-term event? Maybe if there's something that lasted 2 weeks or 3 weeks or maybe even a month or 2 or 3 months, where things were in turmoil or something else happened and we didn't have access to all of the things that we needed so readily, or prices became very high where you needed to provide and take care of more of your own things. Are you prepared? Have you thought about those things? So those are things that I just all of a sudden have just started really thinking about, which brings me to a couple things. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the ways that we are prepared and some of the ways that we aren't, short-term and long-term. But I want to invite you guys to do 2 things for me. All right, number 1, there is the Great Lakes Emergency Preparedness Expo in Birch, Michigan. I believe it starts at 9 a.m. and goes all day long. They have invited me to speak there, and so I will be doing a little seminar on sustainability and more of kind of a long-term permanent style prepping, I guess you'd say, rather than the short-term storing of food and things like that. But how can we prepare ourselves for long-term events or other things that might happen in our economy or our country or locally in our communities, or other things that may kind of force us into providing for ourselves a little bit more and being a little bit more sustainable? How can you prepare and how can you just live your life that way anyway, in setting up these systems to kind of take care of themselves and continue to provide you with food and things that you need? So I want to invite all of you guys. If you guys are in the area, if you guys are in Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, wherever you are, take the trip up there. I'd love to see you guys. It's going to be a pretty awesome event. It sounds like a pretty big deal. I've never been to this particular expo, and so I thought it would be a lot of fun to see you guys there and meet some of you guys, as well as hopefully you guys stick around for the seminar and check out. They've got vendors and all kinds of other stuff that has to do with aquaponics and hydroponics and gardening and heirloom seeds and saving seeds and gardening and preparing and saving things and storing things, all kinds of stuff. And so I think it'll be a lot of fun to check out. And the second thing I want to do today on this video is, if you are a prepper out there, if you have a YouTube channel, a prepping homepage, emergency preparedness centered blog or YouTube channel or Instagram account or something like that, I would like for you to put that information in a comment. What is, just advertise, sell yourself. I would like this to become a huge resource for those people out there who are looking to kind of check some of these things out. So if you're a prepping YouTube channel or anything related to that, go ahead and post a comment and invite people to come and check out your stuff. I will approve those comments because a lot of times links get spammed and they take them off. So I'll go through and approve those as you guys post them. And so I'd love to hear from you guys. Preppers, where you at? And with that being said, you know, what are some of the things that we have done here to prepare ourselves? Our whole ecosystem here, this whole farm idea started after really the 2008, 2009, 2010 time period in our lives. Started watching a lot of YouTube videos and prepping stuff and gardening channels and looking at Polyface Farms and Joel Salatin and watching documentaries on soil, all these things. It just sucked me in, and I wanted to design a farm or a homestead that would literally provide everything that you needed, everything that it needed to continue to sustain, right? Real sustainability. If there were no more stores today, if I couldn't go and get fertilizer, if I couldn't go and get fuel, if I couldn't go and get, you know, whatever it is that I need, how could I, you know, sustain this farming operation? And that is a huge challenge. It's not easy. There are so many things that we rely on, the little things, you know, gasoline, you know, tractors, other stuff. I mean, it's really difficult, if not almost impossible, to be 100% not reliant on the outside world. It really, really is. Unless we go way back to, you know, using horses and all kinds of that, you know, machinery to farm with and everything else, there's always going to be some need for a little bit of that outside stuff. But with that being said, we have set up a lot of sustainable operations here. Our chicken operation, for instance, we raise chickens. We raise them out until they lay eggs for a couple months. We take some of those eggs and incubate them. We raise up another batch of chickens, and we continue that going every couple months. And so we have a chicken who matures to lay eggs for maybe a month or two, maybe even 3 months. They're not too old to be tough meat and not good for meat chicken anymore, and they're not too young where they haven't started laying. And so we kind of get that sweet spot. They produce some eggs for us, and then we harvest those chickens as meat. And they continue to lay eggs, and we have a rooster that fertilizes the eggs and all that kind of stuff, and we continue to do that kind of sustainable operation. With that being said, some of those things require power. We have heat lamps, we have incubators, we have other things like that. And so it's not 100% sustainable, but it's pretty darn close. Of course, we could supplement that with some generators or solar power or other things to make that a truly continual food producing system. And we're real close to that. And that's been something that we've kind of honed in on and started to develop over time here. Things like this greenhouse. This will allow us to literally grow food all winter long. I have, you know, created this little hoop in here, and I've got the little heater and the wood boiler and all that stuff set up using wood as our heat energy and a very, very little amount of electricity. A circulation pump and a tiny little fan that probably takes about 20 watts when it runs. And the circulation pump, I think, takes like 60 watts when it runs. So you've got those two things to keep this thing heated and running. We have a system here that completely sustains itself, and with a little solar panel or battery or whatever, a little generator, we can run this as a food producing system all year round. And so this is one of the things I just got finished and been one of the goals of mine for ever since we moved out here. Our livestock operations, we really try to be sustainable. We harvest hay off of our own property here, provides food for our animals. We have pasture set up that provides a lot of food for them most of the year. And we take those animals, we breed them, we take some of them and we sell them for income, and we harvest some of those for meat as far as pigs go. Goats, we have the goats, we breed those every year. They can provide milk for us, as well as we can sell some of those off or barter with those animals for other people, you know, if there were an event happening. And we could use those animals, which eat almost primarily hay and field and pasture. We could use those animals to provide milk for us as well as income. We have a lot of backup power, and this is more of a short-term event, but we have 3 backup systems of power. We have a propane automatic whole home generator, which runs off of a giant propane tank that literally, when it's full, we could run that generator probably for a couple months off of that propane tank and provide the basics, refrigeration, our well for water and other things. If that generator didn't work or we couldn't get propane, we have a gasoline powered generator that could also run our home. And then I had just purchased a smaller inverter portable generator that we could use in all kinds of different situations. But one thing that we are failing on here is renewable energy. If we don't have fuel for those generators, we're out of luck. We don't have any power source. We don't have wind generation or solar right now. And that's a huge area I'd like to improve on and prepare us for these events. We're out in the middle of nowhere out here. Power goes out all the time, and I'd love for us to be off grid with at least a few of these items, like maybe the greenhouse and some other things where we could we wouldn't even need grid power. We could just run with what we got and have a backup system that provides at least emergency power for us, or a little bit of what we need throughout the year. Those are just some of the things that we have set up here, and some of the mindset that we have when we're setting up these systems. With gardening, the obvious things like growing heirloom vegetables and saving seeds and things like that, we've done a little bit of that. Obviously we could do that full scale if we wanted to and save all of those seeds. All the nutrients that we need for our gardens and for, you know, for this garden in here, as well as our outdoor gardens and traditional gardening and all that kind of stuff, that all comes from our own sources here. Composted manures and beddings and composted leaves and kitchen scraps and all that kind of good stuff that goes right back into the gardens. And so we really have tried to set up as many sustainable operations as we can here. Now, I'm going to go into a lot more detail in the little seminar that we'll do at the Emergency Preparedness Conference, or Expo, and so look forward to that. I will have lots of cool things on how to kind of set up these sustainable operations, whether you're in an apartment or whether you're on 100 acres or, you know, whether you're on 2 acres. It doesn't matter. You can always use all kinds of different things: aquaponics, hydroponics, traditional gardening, raised beds, greenhouses, hoop, all kinds of stuff. And so we'll go through a lot of that stuff at the Expo. So I'm hoping to see you guys there. I know it's a long ways out in the future, but now's the time to start planning these things. Link to the website will be down below. So I hope to see you guys there. Let me know if you're thinking about coming. I'd love to know ahead of time, and I'll plug it a couple more times throughout the summer and stuff like that to remind you guys. What a cool thing. I think it'll be fun to be part of. So let me know what you guys think. Preppers, don't forget, prepper channels, don't forget to comment down below and let us know where you're at. I'd love to hear from you guys. Maybe I'll check out a bunch of videos. I'll go on a prepping video spree once I hear from you guys and get plugged back into that community. So I will be doing a series throughout the summertime on some of these emergency preparedness things individually, and we'll talk a little bit about prepping or just emergency preparedness. You know, the biggest thing that happens up here in Michigan is tornadoes and storms and power outages. Those are the biggest things that we're going to deal with, and of course zombies. Zombies are a big thing up here, but other than that, we don't have a lot of, you know, there's no hurricanes, and the tornadoes really aren't major. They aren't like they are out in the Midwest, out in the plains, but that's the biggest thing we deal with here, and we really need to be better prepared. We were not ready when we lost power this last month, and if a tornado would have came through here, you know, we would not have been ready. And so we're going to work on some of those things. I'll take you guys along for all of it. And I'm excited to get ready. Let's get ready for these things when they happen. And then next time an emergency hits our family here, I'm going to take you guys along for the whole thing, and we'll see how well our preps did and how well we fared. So looking forward to that, sharing that with you guys. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if this is your first time to the SSL Family Dad channel. Lots of good content coming up in the spring, summer, and always here on the farm. So love to have you guys tag along. Subscribe and hit the bell to get notified when we post new content. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.